Okay, so new InnovEU episode, new chronicles for you. And in this episode, first I'll be presenting the Are We There Yet index in the digital transition edition. And taking these results, we'll be looking at where is the money going. So both the EU and the United States have these huge investment programs that are supposed to speed up the digital transition. And then you look at the results, you'll see for yourself. Finally, we close with an analysis of an open call, an Interreg Central Europe call. It's the third call of this program. I'm sure you'll find it interesting if you live in these areas. Hope you like it. Sorry. Okay, today is the day. We've been talking about this for a long time, and now it's here. The Are We There Yet index. Only the first part, okay, the digital transition part of the index, 1 of 5. But okay, finally we have some data to look at, and we have some charts. I love charts. So let's start with this one, but let's start with the meat, the steak, the cordon bleu. Never mind. Let's look at the major countries. And you can see there's a clear leader. Maybe it's not who I expected, really, and probably neither you. But there's a clear difference. Australia is clearly leading. You can also see that India started way behind, but is catching up fast. But then the other major countries are not really that far away from each other. Okay, the United States is ahead, then China, Russia, UK, Canada, the EU behind, but not that much, not much of a difference if you look at it. Let's look at it in a different way. These are the continents. You know how many? Yeah, and okay, South America seems to be moving fast, but when you look at the country level data, you'll see that there are major differences. By the way, this data by continent is the average weighted by the country's GDP. Okay, so with that difference in values among countries of South America, it's kind of strange. Oh, and another issue, country level values and charts and data is available at the workshop, which is the recording of the workshop is available will be available this week at the Police Docs newsletter. So, what I was saying, Africa is the problem. If you look at it, it's clearly a problem. But how do you say that in English? In Portuguese, I would say Oceania, but I don't know. Oceania. You know, Australia and New Zealand, they clearly are far ahead. But let's look at the European values. It's a complex continent, so let's look at this comparison between the EU and its neighbors. I didn't include Russia because it's on the other side, on the Asia part. It's arguable, I know. But look, my point with this chart is simple. Look at the EU. Even in this comparison with all the countries in the continent, it doesn't look very good. Actually, you can see countries here that are trying to assess the EU, like Albania, and they show better values. They show better results in the digital transition. And one more thing, look at the UK. Clearly, 2023 wasn't a good year, was it? Okay, maybe in wine, but not in digital transition for the UK. But okay, how was this data built? I published the digital transition, the framework before. It's available on scientific journal, but also a summary on the Polix Docs, some issue in July. I'll put the link in the notes. So I measured this with 5 indicators. It's not that different from the Eurostat indicator, the DESI. Don't remember what it means now, but it means to measure the digital transition as well. It's not that different. We could include here a couple of other indicators, mostly skills, but mostly the difference is that here we gather data from all over the world, all countries. Naturally, Eurostat has data for Europe. Not for Europe, for European Union countries. The data sources were these, and I'll put links in the show notes so that anyone can access the data and do other things with it. My point is, I think this was the best data I could find. And you can always discuss, maybe this could be measured in a different way with a different set of variables or whatever. But the thing is, for me, these institutions that gather this information, like the World Bank, the OECD, these institutions, the United Nations, they give you enough confidence to know that the same criteria will be applied every year. And in my opinion, that's the most important, because, okay, in each year, maybe you could discuss the results for that year, because you could use other variables. But if you use the same criteria in the same way every year, you know that if the values change, if there's an evolution, then something changes in the reality. That's mostly what we are trying to measure, right? The digital transition. Revolution. So this is these are the data sources, and let's make a first analysis. We'll have time to work on this more in the future, but a first analysis of this data. The first is that there really is a digital transition going on. The world is changing almost everywhere. You notice Africa can be a problem, but everywhere in the world things are changing, both for people, for companies, and for governments. Then, second conclusion, looking at this data, 2023 was not a good year, not just for the UK. It was a slower change, something going on, I don't know what. But clearly the change slowed down in 2023. Third conclusion, clear, Australia. These guys far ahead, okay? Changing quite fast. Also important is the fast evolution that India is able to implement. They started behind, but now they're going really, really fast, and they're catching up. And as I said in the beginning, that's another, I think, important conclusion we can take is the major countries, the bigger countries, they're not that different. Their values are not that different from each other. So where does this take us? First, yes, I'm going to talk about the Draghi report again. Yes, it's an obsession, I know, but really, I don't see the innovation gap that Draghi talks about. Not in the digital area. I don't see that much of a difference between the EU and the other countries, except, of course, for Australia, but everyone is behind them. Second, both the United States and the EU, they put together huge investment programs, a lot of money, many zeros, and I don't see any results. Maybe it's too soon. Maybe it's me that I can see the results, but I can't. Maybe the future will see results, but I would expect with that amount of investment that both the US and the EU would be growing faster than everyone else, and that doesn't show up. Do you think I'm wrong? I'll be looking forward for your contributions, for your discussions, for your ideas. So don't be shy. You have all means of commenting are good. So please share, please comment, please like. The things you do on social networks. It's always very important for the podcast, and also to have other people access these results. So this is part one of the Are We There Yet index. I said before, the complete results can be seen on the recording of the workshop, which is in the Polisdocs newsletter. And next month we'll have part two. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you. Bye.
Are you ready to make a difference in Europe's underdeveloped regions? The Interreg Central Europe program is launching its third call for proposals. We're funding small-scale projects to bring innovative solutions to peripheral and lagging areas. The goal is clear pioneer initiatives that enhance economic potential, connectivity, and access to services. These small-scale projects can have a big impact on local communities across Central Europe. Who can apply? National, regional, and local public bodies, private institutions, and international organizations are eligible. Projects must address one of four key objectives: strengthening skills for industrial transition, greening urban mobility, improving transport in rural areas, and strengthening governance for integrated development. With a total budget of 14 million euros and ERDF co-financing of up to 80%, projects can receive a maximum of 640,000 euros in funding. Consultations are open from October 17th to December 3rd, and submissions are due by December 10th, 2024. Transform Central Europe. For more details, visit the EU Funding and Tenders portal.
InnovEU, the EU Project Chronicles, is a weekly video podcast. Please subscribe to the Polyxox newsletter to receive every podcast episode. And if you like receiving it, please press like in whatever platform you are watching or listening. Also, please share InnovEU and Polyxox with anyone you feel will enjoy it. Credits: author and host Fernando C. Gaspar, music Hugo Gaspar, Lisbon, Portugal, 2024. Reach us by email or DM.